Today's panel considers current conditions in Artsakh, as it's known to Armenians. Azerbaijan blockades the Lachin corridor as we meet today. The corridor connects Artsakh to Armenia. The blockade is a flagrant violation of ceasefire terms and a violation of international humanitarian law. Azerbaijan disrupts access to essential goods and services, including food, fuel, and medication, for 120,000 Armenians in Artsakh. This blockade affects the most vulnerable populations, the young and the aged. These actions constitute a second Armenian genocide, thus the name of our panel today.
Today, we are witnessing the latest chapter in Azerbaijan's campaign of aggression against Nagorno-Karabakh. For over 50 days now, Azerbaijan has imposed a blockade on the region, cutting people off from deliveries of food, medicine, and other daily necessities. Among those stranded are 30,000 Armenian children, 20,000 Armenian elderly, and 9,000 Armenians with disabilities. We are witnessing a rising humanitarian crisis, and we cannot remain silent in the face of these malign actions.
First of all, I want to welcome everyone and say a big thank you for organizing this important event in Columbia University. Also, I want to say thank you all the people who've been supporting us all these days. And we felt this emotional and not only emotional support from political leaders, from ordinary people, from religion leaders, and academicians, everyone, and Armenian and non-Armenian people. And I will say it was very important for all of us who stay in blockade in Artsakh now to feel that we are not alone. When we look at the situation, it's not only a question about the conflict between Artsakh and Azerbaijan. It's an issue about key principles, how we have a right to live in our own homeland, with our own values, with the respect to the neighbor. And we said very clearly, we are ready for negotiation, we're ready for discussion, we're ready for peace, but it needs to be respected for both sides and needs to be respected what we are at the side, live side to side, but not under one state system, which is, of course, absolutely unaccepted by President Aliyev, who said they will prefer to have Artsakh without Armenians if they don't want to live under our own rules, which is create, of course, big challenge because I think one of the key principles of self-determination, it's also to ethnic people to live in our homeland with 1,000 years we've been living, and it's also keep the democratic principles. I think it's three elements together create a big issue for how we can accept any offer from Azerbaijan to become part of a state. Human rights violation, which is unacceptable for any standards. This is why I think to create this type of the pressure, which is cannot be accepted, and it will be not accepted by civilized world, is very important. Also to create the potential sanctions against the people who are doing this, because they're violating rights for the kids to have a very normal life. I think it's very important, I raised this many times, to get air corridor, which will be important for us to get access to humanitarian goods to Artsakh without being dependent for the road, which is always can be controlled and closed by Azerbaijan. It's very important.
There's piles and piles of evidence on genocidal intent, which is usually the hardest thing to prove in these types of situations. And this is not just empty rhetoric. As both speakers before me and Senator Van Hollen noted, this is not just a blockade of the 5-kilometer wide Lachin corridor that's supposed to be open for all traffic between Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh. This is a cutting off of the gas supplies, a lot of which began before State Minister Vardanyan arrived there. This is the cutting off of electricity for so long without even giving the Armenian company the right to go and fix it. This is the cutting off of internet. And increasingly, and again, well before State Minister Vardanyan showed up, well before the most recent round of fabricated excuses, the water resources were cut off. eco-protesters are not eco-protesters. They are security service employees and related to the Aliyev clan in various ways. They have official capacities. In terms of things to do, I'm glad to say that within the coming days, members of the House of Representatives, at least, will be introducing legislation to sanction the officials responsible for that, as well as the others responsible for what's going on in this attempted genocide.